All right, defense. As you can kind of see, the defensive slides are there's less slides here than the offense slide. And that's not because it's less important. It's just because when I feel like a lot of the times when it comes to defense, a lot of times in basketball, it's the most athletic person. Um, is probably going to end up being the better defender. And a lot of time defense is just up to effort and how much you're willing to actually work. Um, but I mean, defense will be hard. Like that's just natural. I mean, defense should always be harder than the offense. Not only just because it's the least enjoyable part, but also because it's kind of the part where it's most up to luck and chance. But however, that's not to say that we're gonna leave. We're gonna just kind of leave it up in the air when it comes to defense. Like the goal should always be to, you know, make the offense take the worst shot they can have. The goal should never be just stop every shot. We shouldn't look at defense every defensive possession as us trying to stop a shot. It's always to try to make them take the worst shot they can have. And that's kind of what ideally we want to do on every defensive possession. Um, in terms of the kind of schemes that we can run, I mean, aside from man to man, which is probably gonna be what we're gonna be running most of the times. We have two different defensive schemes like as options. There's 1-3-1 and triangle and two, which kind of has two variants into it, which I'll go further next slides. But for man, like I said, if nothing is called, then man to man is going to be basically what we're going to be doing. And of course, the man to man, the only thing that we should kind of look out for, aside from like the mismatches and stuff, well, most of the time mismatches will come from this, is the screens. So off all screens, try to fight through it. Try not to switch. Prioritize, not giving the open lane for the guy getting screened on, whatever. That is you kind of play by the air. But on ball screens, what we really want to do on ball screens is to ice it. And this video kind of explains it kind of better in terms of visually.
Hey, Shake, ice the screen, ice it. Come on. Got you. Get that. Perfect. Hey, good stop, man. Great ice.
Ice? What is ice? Why do you keep saying that?
Well, it's the defensive coverage. We don't want you to go middle, right? You're taught to attack that middle, to penetrate, to finish, to find your rollers, to kick out. But we don't want you to go middle. When he comes to set the screen, I'm going to take your man who's guarding you. He's going to play on the high side. He's already over the screen before it's set. So now you can't go middle. I'm on the low side. So we're trying to just shadow you this way as you're dribbling. And then you have nowhere to go. I can get back to mine because he's not really a three-point shooting threat. He stays on you, and we funneled you out to the sideline, so now you can't even penetrate the middle. So that's how we ice the ball screen.
Yeah. So we want like the video says, we don't want anything in the middle. We want to always force them to go towards baseline. Always force them out wide because, like I said before in the offense video, when the ball gets into the middle in terms of offensive perspective, defenses have to kind of collapse and have to kind of help unless you're giving up you want to give up a wide open layup, wide open jumper. So we on ball screens especially, we want to try to ice. We want to try to ice the screen as much as possible. And this main ball switching, obviously ideally you don't want to switch too much, but we don't want we want to prioritize not letting the ball handler get a screen that lets him kind of drive through the middle. But yeah, I think in terms of man to man, the only kind of thing you can watch out is on ball screens, and probably is gonna be a good amount of teams that's probably gonna be the main type of offense, is kind of getting a screen and working off that. But once that happens, we know what to do, and that's to ice it.
Hey, Shake, ice the screen.
I think these other videos kind of go into as well.
It's easily understood when broken down into three parts. The on-ball
So, just go over more kind of examples. He says here, there's just kind of three kind of parts, well, kind of people when it comes to icing. You don't have to think about it that way. Just kind of this. I think this example might show better. So in here, a ball screen is coming from 51 for this guy to drive the middle. 24 knows obviously he wants to drive the middle, so he's icing it, meaning he's showing him baseline. So he gets up over the screen early and kind of forces it. and the guy whose man was setting a screen is helping kind of delay that drive, because obviously when you're icing it, you're kind of showing him to the baseline, so the baseline is open for him to drive, and that's where the kind of this hedger kind of comes. The guy whose man is doing the screen can help delay that drive. But yeah, I don't want to go into the videos one by one because that's you guys can do that after. But that's essentially what I mean by icing. I think this kind of video goes over as well, but let me actually speed it up. So yeah, he's kind of getting up on the screen early, forcing him one way, and then the guy whose man is setting the screens helping delay that drive. But yeah, that's what we want to do on ball screens. And now onto 1-3-1 trap defense. So this is kind of the defense we want to run if we really want to get a stop, and we really want to get. Obviously, the goal every time is to get a stop, but if we really want to trap the offense, then we'll whoever is calling the defense will we'll yell trap. And when we say trap, we mean 1-3-1. And how 1-3-1 is kind of set up, we have the warrior guy, I guess is what they call it, here, low. This guy should really be almost got the most stamina, almost athletic, because he's kind of going to be responsible for going baseline to baseline. There's a center who's going to be our best rebounder here in front of him. There's a chaser who's probably going to be the first person, the point of attack defender, first person that the offense is going to see, and then the two wings. Kind of want to envision this as like an arrow when you're kind of moving side to side, but we'll go over this more next slide. So the goal of 1-3-1 trap is we're trying to trap them in the corners. That's kind of where this defensive setup kind of comes alive. So when the ball comes up, wherever it comes, the chaser, the guy who's probably gonna be the first person to meet the guy, will want to force the ball handler towards one side, preferably left, because most people are righty, so you want to force them left. But the goal is just force them towards the side. If you can't force them towards left, force them to the right. We want to end up in a corner, whichever corner. Doesn't really matter, but obviously preferably left. So the chaser is going to kind of force him towards one side, make him go, towards the wing, and then when he reaches that wing area, that's when the wing defender is the one that comes up and applies pressure on the ball, while the chaser kind of stays around here and waits for any kind of passes that might come to the opposite side. And while that ball is enters that wing area, the warrior right here is getting ready to pounce on the corner, because the warrior kind of doesn't really leave the paint area unless the ball gets the corner. But obviously you don't want the warrior to kind of stay there. You want him to be ready to trap, because as soon as that ball goes in the corner, that's when the wing guy leaves the wing guy and the warrior come in and kind of effectively do double team the person at the corner, and that's when the chaser kind of stays alive for any skip passes, and the opposite side wing defender is also looking out for passes as well. The center doesn't really move much. He's there to kind of prevent, be help for any drives, or be help for any kind of post entries or whatever. But primarily most of the work is going to be with the strong side wing defender and the warrior. If the ball goes to the corner quickly, then the wing defender can be there first, because if let's say the warrior is too slow to get in the corner, the wing defender can go to the corner first, and the warrior can switch out with the wing defender. But the goal is, as soon as that ball goes to the corner, there should be two guys on him, and we want to force them to make crazy passes. I think this video kind of goes over it as well. We see here, when that ball comes up, right here the chaser It's forcing the wing attacker to pass the corner, and you notice kind of how like the Warriors kind of leaving that corner open, same as the wing defender here. You want them to pass the corner. You want them to think that corner's open, because as soon as the ball goes to the corner, that's when the trap happens. So not really trapping too crazy over there, but that's ideally what you want to do. I think there's a better example of them actually getting like turnovers and stuff. Yeah, so Ron here is going through it like kind of slowly. He's kind of showing that he wants would this be the chaser or the weak side wing defender, just to be ready for those skip passes, because that's what we want them to do. We want them to make those crazy passes. If we can't, rip the ball off them and they steal the ball off them. I think these videos go over like the position stuff that don't need to go over that. This is a little short. Shows how it's lined up in the actual game. You got the chaser being the point of attack defender, first person they see. The offense will see on defense, and here he's forcing him to go towards the left. But the offense does a little high pass to the opposite side, so now he's going to force him to stay on that side. The chaser's going to force him to stay on that side. The wing defender came up, and obviously that corner looks open, but as soon as that pass comes, the Warrior comes, the wing defender will come to trap him, and then the center is actually going to be active in this one. He kind of stops those post entry, and that's how a turnover in the post can happen, as opposed to turnover in the perimeter, which that video shows. For the last kind of defense, we want to go. We have an option. A run-in is the triangle and 2, kind of a variant of the box and 1. This will we can run this when like the opposing team has like we identify the other team has like kind of like 2 main ball handlers, 2 really good guys in the team that kind of run the offense, and then everybody else is like basically a bunch of bums around them. So we would have 2 guys mark the 2 best attackers at all times. So basically our best defenders will mark their best offensive players at all times, and then the other 3 will line up in the triangle, either 2 in or 1 in. So that's what I mean when I say 2 variants of triangle and 2. So let's say the 3 duds, the 3 bums, are more likely to shoot, more likely to space out. Then we'll do 1 in, and 1 in will just be 1 guy inside, and there's no difference in 3 seconds, so you can stay there as long as you want. 1 in will be 1 outside, inside, sorry, and then there'll be 2 tips. In this case, it's X3 and X4, the defenders. And those tips kind of want to position themselves in where they can cover the most ground. So, in this case, I have kind of 3 at the top and 4 in the wing over here. But, 4 can kind of move away and guard the corner a little bit while 3 guards over here. But you want the tips to be in the place where they can cover the most ground. Now, let's say that the duds, the bums, are more likely to be in the paint, and go inside. Then we'll do 2 in. There'll be 2 in the paint and 1 tip. And again, you want the tips and the people in the paint, the people in the triangle, essentially to be where they can cover the most ground, while you have our 2 defenders guarding the 2 players at all times. So we can call this 2 in, call it 1 in. When we say 2 in, we're doing triangle with 2 in. When we say 1 in, we're doing triangle with 1 in. And obviously, when we want to trap him, we can say trap, which refers to the 1-3-1. But if nothing is called, then we're doing man. And on man, only thing we look out for is those ball screens, which we want to ice. I think this video kind of goes over the triangle and 2.
All right, let's
for visual learners. So in here right now, they're in a 2 in. Looks like those 2 guys, the 2 guys over here, are like the people that they have being marked at all times. So yeah, like I said before, you want the tips. In this case, since there's 2 in, it's only 1 tip, to be the person that kind of tries to cover the most ground. So if we have two duds in the perimeter, you kind of want that one tip to kind of position himself around here, which he will do, which coach is telling him to do. So yeah, this is essentially going to be we want to run this when we want to shut down the two best players, and when we're confident in leaving the bums to beat us. But yeah, it's not obviously not going to be something they're going to run most of the game, but it's something we can throw at them, see how they react, and if we really want to get those two guys off the ball. And for transition defense, obviously on transition, the team that got this deal, that's making the turnover, is the one that's in that has the advantage. But that's not to say we don't want to be able to prepare for that. So the first things first on transition, when we get a turnover, when there's a quick inbound, when the other team is trying to do a quick inbound, we want to make sure that someone at all times, the first thing that's called that is who has ball. So the first thing when we get a turnover, the first thing that should be said, I got ball, whoever, it doesn't matter. We just want to delay, because obviously in transition, the person with the ball is going to look to go inside, get the easiest shot. But we want to delay that as much as possible. So the first things first, someone should say who has ball, and the other four should look to wall up. So in this case, X1 is the one that picks up ball, and then the rest are looking to wall up. And what I mean by wall up, you kind of see here, one guy goes here, one guy goes here, one guy goes here, and one guy goes here. Kind of building a wall in front of kind of lower side of the court. Just a way to kind of slow them down, and just the way we know where everyone's going on transition, and we don't kind of have to guess. But the most important thing, someone's stopping ball, and everyone's walling up. Obviously, if they're stupid and everyone goes on one, if all of them go on like one side, it makes it easier for us to defend. But yeah, the basic, the priority should always be to someone stop ball, we wall up, and cover the most ground. But that's essentially it. Nothing too crazy, nothing as intricate as the offense, but still something that we should prepare for, especially since we're paying so much fucking money. But yeah.